Welcome to this week's episode of Sitcommentary. See that? It's a clever title because this is a commentary about sitcoms. Respect my work. I am very funny at my job.
Hey, look at us, funny guys.
Aha, funny guys. Aha. Welcome to the second, not first at all. We did that last week.
Definitely not the first.
The second episode of Sitcommentary.
Maybe the last.
No, it's not the last. How dare you?
No,
I love this show. This is Sitcommentary. This is a podcast where we review sitcoms. This first season of Sitcommentary, we are reviewing the masterpiece show, in my opinion, Raising Hope. It's a good show. I enjoy it. Let's start off hot. Not really, because we had a really weird intro there. But let's just no more intro. Let's just go. Let's start off.
Let's just jump right into it.
Let's just jump right in. All right, we got Raising Hope, episode 3, Dream Hoarders.
Yes, that's right.
So we start off this episode. We come in. We got Bert watching Mama playing Jenga.
Jamming out to old Constantinople.
Official title is Istanbul, not Constantinople, is what the title of the song is, but sure.
True.
But yeah, it's a great song. I don't know which version it was. I was gonna credit the version it was, but I couldn't tell. I listened to both the original version and the version from the 80s, and I couldn't figure out which one they were using. But
sounds like in the first time they play it, they're using the original, but in the second time they play it, which, spoiler, they played a second time in this episode. They're playing the ones from the 80s.
Okay, well, yeah, so we got this, we start off that, she's playing Jenga, she's doing real good because the song's playing. Virginia, who I guess is a real quick opinion, do we need to explain who characters are, or are we just hoping that they watched our first episode where we explain who the characters are?
Well, at this point, I'm hoping that people who are watching this still, if anybody's watching this, knows either Raising Hope and is familiar with the characters, or has watched our first episode.
Okay, we'll go with that then. So Virginia, you don't get to know who she is if this is your first time.
It's Jimmy's mom.
You don't know who Jimmy is. He's not in the show yet. So, jeez.
Jimmy is the guy raising hope. It's this kid.
Yeah. We're just going off the rails. This is off the rails day. Virginia comes home with a lamp that was being thrown out by her. What's the term for so Virginia? I need to know this term because it comes up multiple times in the story. Virginia is
she's a house cleaner.
House cleaner. What's the word for the people she cleans houses for? Are they clients?
Yeah, they're just
clients. Okay. It's weird because typically the client isn't the one hiring you, and that's the way this works. That's why the word confused me if that was the right word for this, but I think it is.
For housekeeping, most people take you on, and you kind of either, in the case of Virginia, you're under a umbrella company, or you just do it independently nowadays, which is what most people do.
All right. Well, that was the semantics of house cleaning. So. Yeah. The point is, Virginia, she comes home with a lamp that was being thrown out by one of her clients. And, Bert, he brings up that Mama can't lose while the song Istanbul is playing. She can't lose at Jenga. She's perfect at Jenga. Which, Virginia talks about how it's weird that, songs will bring up things from her past, because apparently America the Beautiful also makes Mama poop real fast.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, apparently that's canon. Very important. You need to know that Mama poops faster while hearing America the Beautiful. So now we have Jimmy, who's our star character. He finally shows up. Almost full scene gone. He wasn't in it. Jimmy comes into the room with Hope, who I guess you could argue is the title character, but not the star. Very confusing.
No.
Comes in with Hope.
No, she's more of a plot device than anything.
Yeah, that's fair. And she shows Bert and Virginia he shows Bert and Virginia that he taught Hope how to crawl with sugar cubes.
Yeah, just like a horse.
Yeah, he just puts a piece of sugar cube on the floor and she crawls to it and so forth. Which I want to real quick just talk about, which I guess you could argue is foreshadowing on our part. the art of foreshadowing. This scene does such a good job of setting up important things that will come into play later in this episode. Like, better than like any other show, an example from a show I can think of off the top of my head. I'm sure there are. There's other great examples of foreshadowing. But like, spoiler, I guess. I mean, you probably watched it or don't care. But they later in this episode, everything that just happened to that scene, all three of their character arcs, will be important later. Like, that all comes back up. Everything from that scene ends up being important later in the episode.
Everything comes together in the end.
Like, it's really good, like, the setups. You don't... Like, the art of a good setup. Like, they set up a concept here that they can pay off later. And I wanted to give them credit for that, because I think they do it really well. So now we go to...
well, Bert and Virginia are not very excited about the fact that, he's taught Hope how to crawl, because now she can get in all the dangerous stuff.
Yeah.
Because all the, just look at all the dangerous stuff you got into as a kid, where, like, every time Jimmy looks at, like, stuff around the house, he sees, like, the paint that he used to get into and electrical plugs that he used to spill water on.
Yeah.
Which, like, just sends Jimmy into a tizzy. He's like, yeah, I got to childproof the house.
Yeah. So Virginia doesn't like baby-proofing, though, because she has a past experience at one of her clients' house where they baby-proofed the toilet, and she could not figure out how to open it, and ended up having to pee in the sink. Yep. Well, I guess we assume it was pee. They don't specify, and it doesn't matter, but I guess whatever. That was a side note, not important. Sorry.
Right.
Yeah. So one thing that needs to go in the house for sure, that needs to be solved, is the pool chemicals that are just in their office / dining room officially. I mean, there's no table in it, but I think officially that would typically be the dining room of a house. There's pool chemicals there because Bert and Jimmy Bert runs a landscaping and pool company. Jimmy also works there. And so they have these chemicals, these pool chemicals, but and so Jimmy tells Bert, "Hey, you gotta get these out of here." And Bert's like, "Where am I supposed to put them? The truck's full of all the weed killer. Do you want me to bring the weed killer in here? And then I could put the pool chemicals there, but how to bring the weed killer in here?" And then Bert's like, "Pick your poison. I finally get it."
Oh, it's so dumb. Bert is so dumb. I love him.
Every character, for the most part, in this show is dumb.
Yeah. No. Yeah, everyone in Jimmy's family is dumb.
Yeah.
Except for Mama and her lucid moments.
But Mama's not lucid for the most part, so you could argue she's dumb most of the time. So
yeah. That's true. That is very true.
Jimmy says that maybe Virginia can make room in the greenhouse for the pool chemicals. Which
is where we find out that Virginia is a hoarder.
She's a hoarder. That's the problem. There will not be room, and there's currently not room in the greenhouse for these pool chemicals because it is just full of stuff she's taken home from clients. Like,
just chock full of junk.
Like, full isn't a good enough word for it. I don't know what the word I want is, but it's that full.
Like packed to the brim.
Yeah.
Like to the brim of a greenhouse. Like ceiling to the floor.
Yeah, just
filled with stuff
everywhere.
I think she's got a box full of towel racks.
Yeah.
Just towel racks.
Yeah. So that actually is kind of my next points from the plot was that Jimmy tries to convince Virginia that she doesn't need all of this stuff. Specifically, the 20 towel racks, considering they have one bathroom and no one hangs up their towel. But the thing is, yes, there is a lot of... That's a whole different, discussion on cleanliness we could get into. It's not the point of this podcast. The point of this podcast is to talk about sitcoms, not discuss towel maintenance. Is that a word? Upkeep. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. So we'll move on.
So we're moving on. But, Virginia doesn't want to do that because she, insists that, she might need them someday because she someday hopes to, get her own place, and then she might need more. She still won't need 20, but that's still, she might need more towel racks someday. And Bert, is agreeing and supporting her because that someday
he's buying the lottery tickets.
Yeah, he's getting these lottery tickets. Someday he's gonna win. He's getting real close.
He's gotten one number 1 week, and the last week he almost got 2 numbers.
Yeah.
Which really, he's like, I'm getting closer and closer.
Yeah.
1 week I got 1, and last week I almost got 2.
Yeah.
I was like, still got 1.
Yeah.
That's not how that works, Bert.
And then they so talking about how Virginia asks what the jackpot is up to, and Bert tells her what it is. I don't know, it was some like $6 million or something like that. Might have been 9. Yeah. It doesn't matter. But so they start talking about like Virginia's like, hey, that's like house and a boat money. So Bert starts going over some potential names for his boat, which are all terrible. I wrote down Ship Happens and Lovebert. Those were 2 that stuck out to me. There was a couple others, but like these are some bad ideas for these.
No. Yeah. Atrocious, really.
Yeah. But also funny because they were so bad.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, definitely so bad it's good.
So Jimmy decides that okay, fine, I'm just gonna not deal with these pool chemicals right now. I need to go start getting supplies to baby proof. Bert asks him if he's gonna while you're at the hardware store, he asks him to pick him something up, and Jimmy's like, I can't, I'm not going to the hardware store, I'm gonna go to the grocery store, because he thinks Sabrina, who is a girl who works at the grocery store that he is infatuated with, is at. Yes. He thinks she's working today, so he wants to go see her. Problem is she has a boyfriend, but who cares, right?
Boyfriend, schmoyfriend, yeah. Really.
So he goes off to Howdy's to pick up, which is the name of the grocery store, to pick up supplies for the baby. To baby proof the house, not supplies for the baby.
Right, yeah. Right. So while he's out at the grocery store...
No, not yet.
Oh.
Next scene is at the grocery store.
You're right. It's a scene between Sabrina and Jimmy.
At the register, Sabrina is...
which I forgot to write down.
Disappointed in you.
Yeah, I am too. It's fine.
To be fair, it's okay. I took really meticulous notes, and I'm still missing things. It took me like an hour to watch each episode because I had to keep pausing and writing because I'm also a slow writer. So it takes me like an hour to watch each of these episodes, which are only 20 minutes. It should not take me an hour.
Fair.
But yeah, so they go to we're at Howdy's, and Sabrina, she's at the register. She's writing in a journal. And Jimmy comes up and asks her, what she's writing. She tells him it's a short story called Elephant in the Room, and talks about how... I don't remember the line exactly. I didn't write this down. Talking about the plot, and it was something about like how people can become mindless zombies, which both Elephant in the Room and the term referring to someone as zombie, the meaning and the metaphors there went completely over Jimmy's head. He had no idea what she was talking about. He thought that this story was spooky because she said zombies were in it.
And then she asked him for another word for ostentatious.
Yes.
Which Jimmy is at a loss for.
It takes him a while. He kind of sits there mulling it over for a while, and then he starts listing off some ideas. Like delicious, tired, and throughout this, she's starting to like hold back a laugh, and he can tell that he's wrong every time. Yeah. And he's like obnoxious, and he ends with lampshade. Because at that point he realized he did not know what it meant. And she could tell, but still enjoyed it and wanted him to keep going because it was fun for her.
Yeah.
Now...
She's kind of a smart aleck. Yeah, and also,
she's one of those lovable jerk kind of characters.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now is where you think we should have been before that scene. Now we're back at the house.
Where Bert and Virginia have managed to lose hope because they were not paying attention.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, Virginia was dealing with Mama like she was supposed to. Bert was supposed to be watching Hope, but was too busy watching the lotto numbers we draw.
That's true, yeah. Virginia was singing America the Beautiful to Mama to help her poop faster.
Yes. But yeah, so...
As mentioned earlier.
Yeah. So Virginia comes back into the room, like you said, and at this point they realize that, crap, where's Hope? She's not where she's supposed to be. They start going all around. They go outside because the door's open. They, have a fun little interaction about how she might have been taken by a hawk. That's why Bert's looking up in the air for her.
Yeah. What, you think she's going to climb up into a tree? Well, she might have gotten taken by the hawk.
Yeah.
Which,
So then Virginia starts freaking out and looking up in the sky as well. And then they see the open door to the greenhouse, and they realize exactly where she's going to be. And she's in the greenhouse. She is all the way in the back of the greenhouse. She had crawled all the way through all the stuff.
Through all the junk and the clutter.
So Virginia, she tries to start moving the stuff out to get to Hope, but the stuff starts shaking and like one or two things fall at the front. And she realizes that this is a dangerous idea and it is not going to work.
Mm-hmm. And
then we have I wrote that there's a funny bit about how Bert they try to think of ideas on what to do.
So Virginia's like, we need to think. And Bert's just like, I need to stop saying that. Think. All I can think of is think.
The word think. It's different colors. It's different fonts. It's just going across my head.
It's literally just, Bert is just think is still in there.
Yeah.
And so they're trying to think of ideas to get the baby out.
She starts freaking out, so he helps her out with the way he calms her down, which is like rubbing his finger over her nose.
Yeah, he brushes her nose.
Yeah, helps her, calms her down, and then she realizes the solution, which is sugar cubes. For one of those first callbacks we were talking about. See? Told you. It was going to be important. Yeah. So they go get the sugar cubes. She goes inside to go get the sugar cubes to try to help get Hope out. While inside, though, while she's looking for the sugar cubes, she runs into Jimmy. Jimmy just came home from the store. And she's like, I'm trying to get sugar cubes. I want to teach Hope to do a somersault. And Jimmy immediately is like, oh, are we out of sugar cubes? Because I can go back to the store. Because, once again, he really wants to go talk to Sabrina some more. So
he got feeling something fierce.
He's got some feelings for the girl. Yeah. So Virginia's like, takes that immediately. Is like, yes, that is a great idea. You go do that, because that's going to buy them some time to try to save Hope. So Virginia goes outside with the sugar cubes now, and I really like this scene. She has like this conversation with Hope at the window about how, like, all right, so you're gonna crawl back over there, and you're gonna go past this thing, and but keep going until you're old enough to understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, as she's describing like the path she has to take as realization that
this is a baby, and this baby has no idea what she is saying.
Yeah.
I believe
and so they kind of give up on the sugar cube ideas.
I believe now we cut back to the store to deal with Jimmy. Yes. Jimmy is giving Sabrina a picture of an elephant that he drew on a fast food bag for her story. She then tells him that it was actually more of a metaphorical elephant, but he says it shouldn't matter the species because he drew it pretty generic.
Yeah. Jeez. Yeah.
I love these characters. They're so stupid, but in like the best way possible.
Yeah, no, most definitely.
Where did we go? Try to find my place on my notes. Now we go back to I believe I wrote this really weirdly. I said, now we go back to the Chance residence. I was trying to, I guess, class up this show that has a song to make the old grandma poop faster.
Yeah, let me get my bow tie for the grandma and her bra for like 50% of the episode.
Yeah, okay, you know what? I wrote it down. I don't know why, but I wrote down Chance residence. I'm trying to class this up, trying to elevate the podcast. But no!
Allow me to get my cup of tea for this new podcast.
Yes, this is our Sitcommentary.
Yes, very official, very posh.
All right, so we're back at their house, and Jimmy comes home to see Bert trying to pull that Hope out of the clutter, and Jimmy starts freaking out because he realizes that Hope is back there and all that crap, and he's like, "How did this happen?" And Virginia then says, probably my favorite line of the episode. Well, you went out for ice cream and had unprotected sex with a serial killer. Which, if you don't know, if for some reason you tuned into this episode first, weird choices you're making in your life. But that's the general idea of how Hope came to be. Jimmy had sex with a serial killer, ended up having to raise this baby after the serial killer was put on death row. But yeah, so I love that line, and it really got me. And then Jimmy said, "You can't keep doing that. Can't keep bringing that up. That's not fair."
Yeah.
It says that he left Hope with them, and now she's trapped because Virginia's a hoarder, and Bert tries to stand up for his woman because he's a good husband. He's an idiot, but he's a good husband. So he tries to take the blame and says it was his fault because he was distracted by the lottery numbers. And, that doesn't help Jimmy feel any happier about this. Obviously, his daughter is still trapped. So now, we kind of cut down to a shot in the clutter, realizing that the pool vac is actually working to get Hope out. And she's almost out, and then her diaper rips off, and she crawls back into all the way to the back of the greenhouse.
Yeah, which Virginia's very upset because now Hope is going to pee on all her stuff.
Yeah. I think then we cut to commercial. And now we'll cut to commercial. Just kidding.
All right.
We don't have any sponsors. So.
All right, welcome back.
Welcome back. Was that a good sponsor?
No.
Jimmy is now, he's fed up. All this crap they're trying to do, it's not working. He needs to get his daughter. So he goes to move something, and Virginia, she stops him because...
if they pull one piece out wrong, the whole thing could come crashing down on top of her.
And then they share a look of sudden understanding. And we cut to and Istanbul starts playing, and we cut to Mama using her Jenga skills to help them figure out what order to take everything out in. Which, once again, the foreshadowing, you would think that scene in the beginning is just a stupid scene. That feels like a stupid throwaway, haha, Mama's weird scene. But it was really important.
Yeah. That was
so we have a little we have a little montage of, Mama helping them take stuff out. Once again, like Chris kind of hinted at, for some reason Mama is just in a bra. It just happens. That's a big thing that happens on this show. She runs around in a bra a lot more than you'd want a elderly woman to wear.
Woman? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
then, it works. They get enough stuff out through this montage, and Jimmy is able to get his daughter. And, Bert and Virginia are like, "Aren't you going to thank Mama?" And Jimmy very angrily thanks Mama. Because, to be fair, it's not Mama's fault that any of this happened. Mama wasn't doing anything wrong. Huh. Mama literally did just save the day.
He really did. But then Jimmy kind of confronts Bert and Virginia about
the next morning, actually.
Reason that... Wait, what?
It's the next morning.
Oh.
Next morning we wake up. We have the characters. They wake up. Jimmy's eating breakfast, and Virginia comes in, and I don't remember exactly how it happens, but he reveals to her that he took all her stuff to the dump.
True.
And she starts freaking out because that's all her stuff. They do a thing where Bert has to help console her with the finger over the nose thing again.
Mm-hmm.
And Jimmy, he's ready to explain what this is, like why he had to do this, like that they need to stop living in the fantasy of their fantasy world, stop fantasizing about having this nice house someday, fantasizing about winning the lottery and what you're gonna name your boat. And Bert says, "We don't have to worry about that anymore. I came up with the name. I don't remember what it was. It was something stupid." But yeah, but then someone rightfully so, Virginia gets all angry and points out that they're not the only ones who are living in fantasy worlds. Because, like it was established a little bit, with the assumption from Bert earlier, Jimmy could have very easily been home much sooner last night if he had gone to the hardware store, which was 5 miles closer than the grocery store. But he had to go to the grocery store because he's in love with Sabrina, who has a boyfriend and doesn't look like she's going to be into him. He needs to move on, kind of a thing. But, here we are. They all realize that they've been living in these fantasy worlds. And, after some convincing from Jimmy, he's able to convince them that they'll all stop doing that. He'll, only go to the store with once a week with a list and make sure not to go to her register. And, Virginia won't take stuff from the client. Well, not take stuff. That sounds like she's stealing. She won't take the stuff the client's trying to give her. Bert won't spend his money on lottery tickets. But the problem
after about a week of this happening, everyone is very miserable.
They're all angry and just not fun people to be around because they all are just unhappy because they don't have the thing they like. So we have a moment where I think it was Virginia wanted to get some cookies, and they're out of cookies. And Jimmy's like, hey, I'll go to the store. I'll go pick up some cookies for you. And Virginia and Bert are like, no. You're just going to the store because you want to talk to Sabrina. And he's like, I'm not. She's not even working tonight. She's got class. Because she has a creative writing class, which we forgot to mention earlier. That's why she was writing that short story earlier.
Right.
Yeah. So he's like, she's got class. It's fine. And they're like,
sure.
And they're like, oh, no. Just to be sure, we're going to, I think they might have even said insurance.
Dork on your face.
They wrote dork on his face in a Sharpie.
Yeah. As you do.
Yeah, of course. Who wouldn't?
As parents.
Yeah. That's good parenting.
Yeah. Good parental harassment.
He buys these cookies, and guess what? He ends up going to the register, and, Sabrina is at work today, and she takes over for the guy who had started out at the register. So now Jimmy does have to talk to, Sabrina with the word dork written across his face.
Yeah, which is absolutely lovely.
It is. It's great.
And,
but he asks why she's there. She's supposed to be at writing class, and, she says that she gave up. Her dad didn't like one of her stories, said it wasn't any good, and he's like, hey, you can't do that. You gotta, keep going. He gave her this real uplifting, story about why she shouldn't quit on wanting to be a writer. If she wants to be a writer, she should go for it, Someday she might win an Oscar. Nice because something she writes might end up becoming a movie, and there she'll win an Oscar. And he's like, don't you want to win an Oscar? And she's like, yeah, I do want to win an Oscar. That's a really good moment for them.
She asked Jimmy where he learned to be so positive, and he realizes it's because he grew up in a house where everybody dreamed. Everybody had a dream. His mom and her hoarding was dreaming of, one day living in a bigger house, and his dad dreaming of winning the lottery.
Him dreaming of, her
having a monkey.
Him dreaming of having a monkey, and later in life hoping that her boyfriend dies is the joke.
Yeah, I think it's dies or just...
No, Bert says, hey, some people die every second. Right there.
Oh.
That one could have been him.
Another one.
But yeah, and so Jimmy realizes that he wants Hope to grow up in a home where everyone is still dreamers. So so he on his way home, he picks up a chair. Well, actually, at the grocery store, he picks up a lottery ticket for his dad, and on his way home, he picks up a chair that looks like a shoe that his mom had mentioned was being thrown out.
Yes, he does.
And he brings all that to them, showing that, hey, look, we're all gonna keep doing the things we like. Because
very good vibes at the end of this episode.
And the episode actually, the specific last scene ends with Jimmy telling Sabrina, highfalutin is another word for ostentation. Ostentatious. And he has a whole discussion about how the thesaurus is the cousin of the dictionary.
And gives it to her.
And he gives it to her. And she kind of has this look of, really, I'm trying to think of the best way to put it. Definitely, seems into him almost, and like really like moved by it, and like.
Yeah, she definitely is. Yeah, I would say she is moved by his.
And she keeps like looking back at him, kind of a thing, and that's how the episode ends.
Yeah, the end of that episode definitely made me very. I had some very feel good vibes going on.
This show really does that well. It can be one of the stupidest episodes ever, but then still have a scene that's really like, here's this little uplifting speech he's giving to Hope, and you're like, oh, I want to have dreams.
Yeah, I'd say this show does a really good job at like subverting your expectations. You go in and like based on what is put in front of you, you're like, oh, this is just gonna be something I watch. I sit down, have a good time, and I walk away with nothing.
Yeah.
But every time I've sat down to watch one of these episodes, I'm like, man, that was nice. I feel like I've got a little bit of hope in there.
That's the title character's name. Oh my gosh! Speaking of this show,
more hope in my heart.
We should talk about our 4th episode of the show, which is not the 2nd episode for today, 4th episode of the show, which is episode 4. Say cheese. So all right,
that's not how I actually smile. I promise. For the audio listeners, I just gave a very large
that he might actually smile like that.
Grin. No, I don't. The most I smile in most pictures is a smirk.
That's fair.
Because I hate smiling for pictures because it always seems very disingenuous.
Yeah, I hate smiling too.
Especially like smiling with my teeth because I almost never do that unless I'm laughing.
Which I'll be honest. Stay tuned to the end of this episode of this podcast because I feel like this show kind of hits on what Chris is talking about. More foreshadowing, like we talked about in the last episode.
So, all right,
so we open with Jimmy.
The episode.
We open with Jimmy, and he's at Howdy's again because, of course, he is. He's always at Howdy's, and he's looking at a package of Shrinky Dinks, which maybe they're a real thing. If they are, I've never heard of them.
No, they absolutely are Shrinky Dinks. They are real things, and I remember playing with them as a child. So this was like, Shrinky Dinks. I had a moment as well. I felt like I connected with Jimmy and Sabrina in this moment.
Well, Jimmy and Sabrina had a same moment where they were,
and Sabrina have a moment connecting over Shrinky Dinks. And long story short,
they both loved them as a kid, and he doesn't want to wait till Hope is 3. Because that's how they age on them, to do them again. And Sabrina's like, don't. You know what? I'll come over and we'll do them together.
Yeah.
And so now we cut to the house, and Jimmy's came home super excited and wants to get the house ready. But the problem is, Bert is playing with a balloon.
Yeah. Bert is trying to break a record for bouncing a balloon in his hand.
Yeah. As you do.
And Mama is going through labor again.
And Mama thinks she's going through labor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And so Jimmy, afraid of Sabrina coming into the house and seeing all the insanity that is Jimmy's family.
And being scared out of her mind like she should be. Is like, you guys need to get out. Mom, please get them out of here. And, Virginia agrees as long as Jimmy makes a move on Sabrina because she doesn't want Jimmy to get stuck in the very real friend zone, which she saw on the show Friends with Ross and Rachel.
Yeah. A reference I don't get because I don't watch Friends.
The joke there is that these characters are stuck in the friend zone.
No, they explain it very well.
Okay, cool. Did you get it? Like that's like you're saying you don't get it. That's really all you had to get. They say what to get.
They do say what to get, but I haven't watched Friends because I don't like sitcoms very much. Except for this one, is very much pleasantly surprising.
Welcome to the show, Sitcommentary. All right, so next scene we got. We come back from. Wait, what? Come back from the. Oh, then we go. Apparently, then we go to the intro, because I said we come back from the intro. Don't know why I felt the need to write that. And Sabrina Sabrina's there, and she's walking around the house, looking at stuff, saying he's got some crazy stuff.
Because they've already made the Shrinky Dinks, and they're cooking in the oven.
And Jimmy's putting them in the oven, And normally it takes only like 3 minutes, but their oven doesn't get hot enough, so it's gonna take a while.
Cool.
So we find Sabrina. She finds a photo album.
The last thing you'd ever want anyone you have a crush to find in your house.
Especially Jimmy should feel that way, because these aren't your normal like family photos that kind of suck. These are some embarrassing, really bad family photos. And we cut to our first flashback of the episode, because this is a flashback episode. Which, in a lot of other shows, flashback episodes kind of suck. I actually feel like this show does flashbacks better than a lot of other shows.
Yeah, pretty solid, I would say.
We go to a flashback of how chaotic it is on a picture day at the Chance household. Once again, I'm trying to make this sound more...
At the Chance residence.
At the Chance household, yes.
Meanwhile, his Chance residence.
The year in question for this flashback, this family photo. Yes,
excuse me.
The family portrait was 12 years old. It was 12 years ago when this picture was taken. It says 12 years ago on the screen, so you know when the flashback is taking place. And they're all in ski gear, because that's the theme that Virginia wants for this picture, is skiing.
So, in this flashback, Mama is still lucid.
Yeah. And
to Jimmy, who is presumably like 7, is
sounds right.
Tells Jimmy
he's probably closer to 10 or 12.
Anywho, she tells Jimmy that if she ever loses it, like Virginia loses it over photo day, to take her back into the backyard and put her down with a shotgun.
Yeah.
Just a casual thing to tell your, preteen, probably not even preteen grandson.
I'm not that it really matters, but they do have a lot of flashbacks with him being like able to talk 4 to 5-ish that say 20 years ago. So if this is 12 years ago, he's maybe 12 to 13 range.
Okay.
Just for slight here's the thing. He looks like a kid. You can't really tell exactly how old he is. But it's 12 years before the current story. And that's a really funny line from Mama.
It's the appropriate thing to tell your grandson.
But it's hilarious.
It is hilarious, and I loved it.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? I felt it, Mama.
Yeah, that line is actually in the family's van, and they're on their way to get the pictures while that's happening. And Bert and Virginia are getting into an argument about this because Bert doesn't understand why they're doing this picture in these ski outfits, and Virginia's like, well, I saw it in one of the houses I was cleaning. And he's like, yeah, but those people were actually skiing. And, so he goes to turn the radio on, and it's the song Wackadoo, I think, or something like that.
Yeah. Wackadoo, 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 wackadoo.
Yeah, and Virginia doesn't want to hear the song right now, so she turns it off. Bert turns it back on.
She's having a psychotic episode.
Yeah, Virginia goes to turn it off, and then I don't remember, it might be the end of that, but Bert ends up getting his foot stuck because of the ski boot and jamming the pedal down, the gas pedal, and they're going fast. And eventually, she helps him get it off, and they stop the car, and then they just walk the rest of the way.
Because you don't want to get in a car crash.
You don't want to get in a car crash. I mean, it's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
So now we're back to the present. We go back to the present, and Jimmy is about to get Sabrina to sit on the broken couch with him, because they have this couch that their really fat aunt broke at one point.
Right.
And now if you sit on it with someone, the way it's broken, you end up sinking right into each other's laps, basically. So he's trying to make that move with the couch. Use the couch like how the couch is supposed to be used. And he's about to, and then his mom comes home to get a pacifier for Hope. Because Bert had thrown Hope's pacifier into a wishing well, or a wishing fountain, and wouldn't let him get it back out because he already made a wish. So they had to come home to get another pacifier. And Sabrina tells Virginia how Jimmy was just telling her about some of their family photos. And Virginia, she's not happy with that. And now she feels the need to explain her side of the story. So Jimmy doesn't paint her as the crazy one. And
even though she definitely is.
What? Jimmy then pulls... In the next scene, we have Jimmy pulling Virginia into the kitchen to try to get her to stop interfering in his date. Virginia doesn't want to be made out to be the crazy mother-in-law if Sabrina and Jimmy ever end up together at some point. So she's got to do what she's got to do. She's got to go in there, you know?
Yeah.
At this point, Sabrina calls them back into the living room to ask why Jimmy is missing hair in one of the pictures.
We get another flashback.
Yeah. Not quite. It's a little bit early. First, Jimmy explains in the present that he would get so stressed out because of all of it that he developed this nervous habit of pulling out his hair and eating it.
His hair.
Yeah. Because then Sabrina asks, why didn't he just shave his head? But apparently, Jimmy has a birthmark shaped like a big Florida,
but with
balls.
Florida with balls.
Florida with balls.
And so, that's not an option.
Yeah, so they can't do that. So then Sabrina asks why Bert wasn't in this other picture. And Virginia says that was the year Bert went crazy. Now we go to the other flashback.
Yeah.
To 2 years ago, and the chances are in these terrible looking white turtlenecks with these red cardigans over them. This is awful.
Very 90s, very 90s.
Sure, it's awful combo. But this isn't the 90s. The show takes place in 2014, I think, or so, and this was 2 years ago. So it's like 2012 at the latest or earliest. So these outfits were not in style by any means.
No, not at all.
And Bert's saying he can't breathe in his turtleneck. Excuse me.
You are excused.
Thank you. And Jimmy is starting to stress out because they're arguing about this, and Virginia's telling him not to stretch out the collar because then they can't return it.
Yeah.
Because these are really expensive outfits. But yeah.
That's true.
So Jimmy is stressing out. He starts eating his hair.
Yeah. And Mama is eating her lipstick.
No, not yet. At this point, she's eating something else. That's a little bit later in the scene. I know what you're talking about. This doesn't happen yet. That happens at the picture place.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's eating food. She's eating a food in a trash bag to keep her clothes clean. They're feeding her feeding her soup in a trash bag.
And she says, "I want soup."
Yeah, you're eating soup.
You're eating soup, Mama.
Yeah. So we now go. Oh, sorry. No, I almost skipped this. Then Virginia sees him doing that and starts yelling at him, like, "Hey, you need to calm down." And he's saying, "I can't calm down because you're yelling at me." And she yells louder to calm down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, that gave me anxiety, honestly.
That's fair. It's a fair reaction to that scene. Now we cut to the picture place. This is where Virginia is trying to apply lipstick to Mama, and Mama is trying to bite the lipstick. And Virginia's like, "No, this isn't food." And then Mama eats the lipstick, of course, because while Virginia is getting distracted by something, so she eats the lipstick.
And Mama's eating the lipstick. We see Jimmy plucking out his own eyebrows and eating them now.
But yeah. Where was it? They're at the picture place, and Bert is complaining about the tags on his sweater irritating him. And Virginia is telling him to keep it on so they can return the outfits, because she doesn't want to. If they don't have to, they're going to get a charge on their credit card, and she hates.
And then they'll not be able to make payments.
Yeah, she doesn't want that. She hates charges on the credit card. And then they turn around. This is actually where they turn around. They reveal that Jimmy has eaten his right eyebrow completely off.
Yeah.
Bert says he's had enough when he sees that. He tries to leave, but Virginia tries to stop him. She gets in his way, stands in front of the door. So Bert threatens to pull the tag off, almost like it's like a
hostage situation.
He's like, I'm gonna do it. I'll do it. And she's like, And she lets him leave. And then we pan back to Jimmy, and he's eating his other eyebrow.
His other eyebrow. Completely eyebrowless now.
Yeah. I actually think this is a real cool end to the flashback. We have Jimmy closing the photo book, which is a real cool cinematography moment. We're closing the memory. Boom, close the photo book. So now we're back into the modern time. Virginia is happy with this story because, to her, it proves that she's not the problem. Yeah. Jimmy and Bart, they're the problem, not her, obviously, after you hear that story.
Yeah, clearly.
Yeah. Jimmy says that they're only crazy like that on photo day every year, and every other day they're normal. To which, at that exact moment, the door opens, and Bert comes in with Hope, followed by Mama, whose water broke in the car. Once again, right. Mama is the elderly grandma who is not pregnant, just thinks she is. And her water broke in the car. And the way Bert describes it, it sounds like something happened, in the car.
She's probably just peed herself.
Yeah, peed everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now Bert is guiding her into the restroom.
Yeah.
To get her cleaned up.
I believe at that point Mama says that she thinks the head is crowning as well.
Yes. Which,
Yeah. So Virginia leaves to help Bert, and Sabrina, she tells Jimmy that she loves his family.
Yeah, because Jimmy apologizes profusely. Yeah. She's like, no, don't apologize. I love it.
I love your family. Especially Virginia, because, she thinks she's normal when she's actually the craziest of all of you.
Yeah. Which she is.
I mean...
Absolutely.
Yeah, I guess
Not only is she, OCD about the picture, but she is also a hoarder, which is definitely...
Whoa, she's fixed that. She's not hoarding as much.
Yeah, as much.
The established idea is that she doesn't hoard as much. How dare you be so mean to Virginia? So now, for some unknown reason, we cut to the kitchen, where Jimmy tells Virginia how Sabrina loves the family and loves how crazy they all are.
Especially her, since she's the craziest one of all of them.
Yeah, which makes Virginia really mad because she's, as she says, she's not crazy. To which Jimmy says, she loves this because you are, but you don't realize you are. And she's like, but I'm not crazy. He's like, save this for when we get back in the living room. Because Jimmy is such an idiot. He doesn't realize that he is making his mom mad right here.
Jimmy is literally just the physical embodiment of naivety.
Yeah.
It's just surely anything I say at this point couldn't make things bad. Yeah. But then it does every time.
Yeah. So now Virginia goes and confronts Sabrina for this, and gets all up in her face. And Sabrina's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I've offended you. I'll just leave." And Virginia's like, "No, you have to see this year's picture or last year's picture. I don't remember how she worded it, but the last picture."
The last picture that we took, which was a week ago.
3 weeks ago, to be precise.
Mm-hmm.
I only know because I wrote it down because it was on the screen.
Spice.
Spice, a little bit of paprika and pepper.
Yeah. Some paprika sounds good. I'm hungry.
Where was I?
I could eat again. Anyways. Aside from me being fat.
Yeah, where were we? So now, it's, she pulls out this, envelope with this picture, and it's time for our last flashback of the episode.
Flashback.
And, it's just 3 weeks ago, so we have, we cut to, Jimmy holding Hope, and Virginia walks in and drops a coupon for the photo place on the coffee table. And it's like, hey, it's time to get pictures taken. And Jimmy is confused because he thought they were done taking pictures after the 2 year ago fiasco when, Bert walked out.
Yeah.
And, Virginia's like, no, we have this new baby now, we need to take pictures. Just because, Bert lost his mind last time doesn't mean that they're not taking pictures anymore. And then she leaves the room. And then Bert's telling Jimmy, like, hey, you gotta start standing up for yourself, man. Like, if you don't want to take these pictures, you need not take the pictures. I wish I would have done it sooner. You need to do this for yourself.
Yeah.
And now Virginia comes back into the room. And, Jimmy tries to, tell her that he doesn't want to take these pictures anymore. It just stresses everyone out. And Virginia's like, well, it only stresses me out because, I have to do all the work. So Jimmy's like, hey, then I'll do all of it for you. And she doesn't really seem on board at first, but, and then Bert's like, if he's doing it, I'm in.
And so, since Bert's in,
Virginia accepts it and, isn't happy, but accepts it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then we cut to, like, a montage.
Yeah, it's kind of a montage of sorts.
A little montage of...
Virginia's kind of just, like, checking in on Jimmy and how he's planning for the pictures going. And
what's the theme? How are you going to get Mama ready in this specific way by cutting off this specific hair that grows out of her mole?
Yeah.
What's the shower schedule for tomorrow so we can make sure we get there in time? To which pretty much Jimmy's response to pretty much all of them is, no, we're just not doing it that way. It's not that big a deal.
Yeah.
We don't need a theme. No one cares about Mama's hair except for you. We're not going to worry about it. We don't need to wake up early because we're not going to rush to get there. We're just going to go when we can. Which Virginia's like, but then we won't get this free plate that we get if we get there by 8. Which Jimmy is like, good. It's kind of creepy when you see yourself peeking out from under the food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's also, I think, worth noting that in all the scenes, Jimmy's taking care of Hope. Just being a good dad. Being there for her. Not, getting all stressed out about portrait day. Like Virginia would have been when he was a kid.
Also, each one of those montage scenes, she's getting progressively more stressed. You can see it. Like, you can see her. She ends each scene with, like, okay, but you can tell she's getting more and more
she's
stressed.
Definitely not okay with the situation at hand.
Yeah. So now we're back at the picture place. We see that even though Jimmy decided on no theme, Virginia chose to wear the 50s theme outfit that she had wanted to do initially.
Yeah. Despite, giving control over to Jimmy.
Yeah.
And she says, yeah, this is what was comfortable for me. Since that's what you wanted us to wear, whatever was comfortable.
Whatever makes us comfortable. So then we, they go in to take the picture, they're all just kind of standing random willy-nilly, and the picture guy's like, excuse me, so what pose do you guys want to do? And Jimmy's just like, oh, this works. And Virginia freaks out. I think Chris is frozen. Crap. Oh, you're back. Okay, cool.
I'm here again.
Alright, cool. So Virginia, she freaks the crap out. She is freaking out. Because, he's not caring about a pose. That giant hair that she can see, it's bugging her and all that. And she's freaking out.
And how is anyone going to know that they're a family?
Yeah, no one will know they're a family. Because they're not doing a pose. They're not wearing matching outfits. Could they at least do a pose? And she lists off a lot of the stupid photo poses.
Yeah, like arm in arm and all this other jazz.
Can we at least do the not looking at the camera but turn our head to look at it, one. And so she storms out after this, after freaking out.
Yeah, she has a full-blown meltdown.
Yeah, full-blown.
And Bert goes out to the truck to try to console her about, everything that's going on.
Sorry, actually, one real quick thing. It's a line that I thought was kind of important to her character arc in this episode. Is she, right before she leaves, before she's outside, she says, and if the picture's not perfect, there's no point in taking it. Outside, Bert tries to console Virginia. And, she explains that she wants the type of perfect photo she sees in everyone's house she cleans. And Bert's, like, every house? And she's like, yes. And he's like, what else do they have? And she's like, you don't want to know. Kind of a somber scene of like, oh, dang.
Yeah. Yeah, this very clearly dysfunctional family that's not as well off as these other families in the neighborhood. That
she just wants that perfect photo.
They kind of have this realization that, they definitely aren't like as well off as they'd like to be.
Now we're on the way home. They're in the truck on the way home, and they're
an old wackadoo comes on the
radio. My brain broke there. I had it right in front of me. Still couldn't read it out properly.
Yeah. And they have this back and forth where
Virginia turns it
off, and Bert turns it on, and Virginia turns it off, and Bert turns it on.
And then Virginia smashes the crap out of it with her foot. She just kicks the radio out.
And then Mama comes right on in.
Just starts singing the song.
Singing wackadoo.
And then, Bert joins in, and then Jimmy joins in, and then even Virginia joins in. And they're all having a great time singing. And Bert goes through a red light, and we see a flash, and we cut back to modern time, her showing them the speeding, or the red light ticket.
Yeah.
Of them all happy and smiling, and that was the photo she was showing Sabrina earlier. It wasn't the picture where she was screaming that we thought it was earlier in the flashback. It was this photo. Where was I? Sabrina explains that why she really actually likes this photo, and how her and her family, they have all the photos Virginia was talking about. But they're all on all those photos. They're told when to smile. It's not real. But this photo, it captures true happiness and real smiles from this family.
Yeah, and a moment of genuine happiness.
Yeah, not some fake thing. And that really kind of makes Virginia happy.
Yeah.
Then we have a part where Virginia. I'm reading the names wrong when they're in front of me.
Yeah, don't worry. It's 12:30 a.m. again. Hey, here we are. The latest.
Sabrina gets a call from Wyatt, her boyfriend, and she ignores
it. Oh.
So
hope for young Jimothy.
So Jimmy goes and he tells his mom about it. He gets a little pep talk from her about how he needs to go make a move right now. Go kiss her.
Yeah.
So Jimmy is sitting talking about how he's glad he didn't scare her off, and Sabrina says, of course he didn't. She really likes his family. But if he meets a girl he wants to date, he should hold off on showing them the family photo album.
Yeah.
And then from across the room, Virginia says, you waited too long, just like Ross. And it ends.
That's it. That's the end of the episode. But there's hope for a young Jimmy yet.
There's hope. But maybe not, because, she's saying...
Nah.
Don't bring a girl you like over here.
Together.
What?
What?
What do you say? I have no opinions on what might happen later in the plot.
Look, all I'm saying is the people die every second, Her boyfriend's bound to die eventually.
It's true. Wyatt might die at some point in the story. Maybe.
Oh, look, there goes another one.
Oh, maybe that was Wyatt. It's such a good joke. Yeah, so this was an episode of Sitcommentary. I think it was good, Hopefully you enjoyed it.
I enjoyed the show.
Yeah. Hopefully next week's will be better. I think we might have to, change when we record it, because I definitely think, as you can tell if you watched it and made it this far in, I was slipping a little bit towards the end. So please give us one more chance before you give up on us. If next week sucks too, I understand. But give us one more chance. Thank you for tuning in.
Hopefully we see you next week.
Yeah, hopefully we see you next week. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.